Hey everybody, and welcome to a new pickups video. And today we got a lot of games to get through, so I'm gonna cut this intro short and hop right into the games. Rogue Flight is the gem of the year. I've been waiting to talk about this game for a while now. I want to give a shout out to my buddy Sean Powers for letting me know about this game. If you're into games like Star Fox or even like a little bit of Afterburner, look no further than this game. This game gives you everything, all of that, plus a bunch of extras. One of the things that sucked me in was the anime intro they have for this game. Like the music they play for it, outstanding. I can't play it here because I don't want to get a copyright claim. But definitely the intro, you can tell like the production values in this game were like top notch for what they could afford. They did a great job. And this game shows you that not every game has to be a AAA title. Like there's games like this that are out there that are just like on par to what we grew up with. And I love this game. And not only that, as you can see, it got a physical release on PS5. I'm hoping for a release on Switch sometime later too, because I like to play this game on the go if I can. Now the game has around 9 missions, but there's 3 paths you could take for different endings. There's also a new game plus, which is a welcome surprise for this game. You guys will know what I mean when you play it. But definitely this is something that I feel like a lot of us old school players will love. I will probably review this game sometime in the near future because there's a lot I want to talk about with this game. But as soon as I found out about this game, I told friends about it. Cag actually bought it. He actually got it on the Xbox. I think he got it on Switch too, but Cag is so hardcore that he got his platinum on the PS5 and he got all the achievements on the I was about to say 360, but the Xbox Series X version. So dedicated player there, but he loved it. Great recommendation. So Sean, thank you again for letting me know about this game because it probably would have went under my radar. A lot of these companies they're not able to get the promotion they want to kind of put some of these games out. But what's cool about this one is that they didn't have to go through a limited print company. They just put it out for sale. You could buy it online, like on Amazon and eBay as well. But definitely, I'm just happy that this game is like, as soon as it comes out, it has a physical ready to go. I love that. So, but look forward to a future review on this game, guys. And while you're watching this one, make sure you pick this one up. Here's Ys Oath of Felgana. Now, this is my buddy Joel's favorite game in the series. He actually played the old school Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis version, and I think he might have played the PC version as well. But this is the definitive version of the game here on the PS5. Now, I just beat Ys 10, which I had a great time with. And now hopping into another Ys game, I'm like, man, I'm not sure if I should do this. But I hear this game is not that long, and the story has already pulled me in. So I probably will beat this here pretty soon, but it's kind of strange going back to like adult just by himself, like doing combat. I'm used to playing Ys games with like characters that are with you, helping you out, but this game is a solo adventure, but it's actually pretty deep as a part of the story I'm in right now. And I'm not gonna lie, I appreciate the old school style of Ys games. Not so much the bump combat, but I would say the remake on the PSP definitely is where my love for the series started at. This is actually the first Ys game that I actually struggled like fighting some bosses with, so you gotta really learn their patterns and strategies to really prevail in this game. But I'm having a fun time doing it, so look forward to letting you guys know my progress on this game in the near future. Here is Grand Theft Auto 3 for the Sega Dreamcast. Yes, modders have finally got this game working on the Sega Dreamcast out of all systems. This is pretty insane. And Nights in the Dreams Repro made this physical that they're selling on their website. So I have a link in the description where you guys could pick that up from. But man, I gotta say, like, this is very impressive. Like, I know this is like an alpha build of it, you know, but it still runs really good. And, you know, they may make future updates where they fix some stuff, but the complete game on this disc like this is just really like mind-boggling to me. I can't believe this is a thing. And it shows you that the Grand Theft Auto 3 could have ran on the Dreamcast. Maybe I don't know if they originally were going to put it on the Dreamcast. I don't know if that was a thing, but still, you know, it shows the Dreamcast is still a pretty powerful system, at least for its time. Now, while this is not the best version of GTA 3 to play, it's probably the most impressive version to play, so keep that in mind. But anyways, guys, I'm going to play through this eventually, but if you guys are playing through it right now, let me know what you think. Here is Wild Gun Special Limited Edition from Strictly Limited Games. Now, this is one of the, well, in the early years, I talked about this game. I did a breaking the seal on it years ago, but I saw the special edition going for $50, and I said, yeah, this is definitely worth it. Now, Wild Guns is a gallery shooter, very similar to games like Cabal and one of my favorites, Blood Brothers, which still hasn't been released on home consoles. Maybe Evercade could help us out with that. This is what I would call the ultimate arcade gallery shooter. You know, this version is up to 4 players. Very fun game. You know, it can be very difficult if you don't know what you're doing. You know, you got to get used to things, but it's not too hard once things fall into place. I would just say I wish the PS4 version had an easy mode so I could kind of go through the levels and kind of figure them out. But PS4 version is old school, so it's like, man, you got to tough it out. But it is fun once you start making progress. I would definitely tell people to keep this game on their radar if you want something old school, retro, and definitely a fun shoot 'em up. Here is Post Void for the PS5. Now, this is a first-person, like what you would call a boomer shooter. And guys, I tried to play this game, and I just didn't know how to do it, unfortunately. I kept getting killed. Like, I kept getting killed and reset back to a certain point where I figured out I wasn't even playing the game properly. So, maybe I'm doing something wrong. It says, try not to look back. Try to avoid lingering mistakes. So maybe you have to play it in a certain way or just like kill enemies in a certain order or something like that. I don't know. But when it comes to these games, I'm used to like taking everybody out and moving on. This game has a uniqueness to it. I just haven't figured it out yet. But if you guys have played this game and know what I need to do, let me know in the comment section. Here's the Legend of Heroes Trails Through Daybreak. I haven't got to this game yet, but I had to pick up this PS4 version because it got rare and obscure. I got lucky and was able to get this copy off Amazon. It was the last one they had, and it went through a couple of times of them sending me an email, do I still want this item? They still haven't got it in stock. But luckily, they finally got it after, I think, about 3 months after I tried to order it initially. And I just want to have all the games on the PS4 right now with the PS5 upgrade. I actually I'm in the process of selling my PS3 copies because I got the PS4 copies of the first 2 games off of Video Games Plus. They had a sale on them. Now, I don't mind really starting over the series because I really enjoyed it. I'm just going to like take my time playing these because I know it could be overwhelming if I play these games back to back. So probably maybe every couple of months I'll hop into one of the games, beat it, and then another couple of months, you know, start the next one. I'll go like that and see where I'm at. But I'm really looking forward to playing these games. I'm happy to have them all in my collection so I don't have to like go out and look for them. So this series is popular for a reason. You know, if you like turn-based RPGs, I mean, this is where it's at right here. This is the top of the line. The King of Fighters 98 Dream Match Final Edition. Hope you know how to use them. But the character roster, the modes of a challenge you can use with the certain advanced and extra modes, it's just like really like awesome. And you know, though it's not my favorite King of the Fighters game, that title will always be King of the Fighters 2002 Ultimate Match. but this game is damn near right up there with it, and even the intro to this game is catchy, even as corny as it is. But I'm not trying to sound like an old man here. With the disappointment of a lot of fighting games of today, I'm so happy I could just go back and play some of the original games that really like set the foundation for a lot of the greatness that these games brought. No exploiting season passes and things like that, you know, just constantly like changing games up, rebalancing because they keep adding too many characters to the roster. Even though you could say the same thing about this one, but I felt like the game was made to have a big roster. So definitely, if you like fighting games, I implore you to try the King of Fighters series. The only part that might drive you crazy is that the bosses in these games can be pretty tough. They're gimmicky, but they're beatable. But Omega Regal in this game is like, oh god, he's annoying. But yeah, I'm happy to have this game on the PS4 system. I will go into more detail about this one. I have another video coming out called Items from Pix and Love that I've gotten over the years. And yeah, I'll show more of it there. But definitely, if you haven't played this game, I would say try it out.
It all began in 94, found rolling in 95, pieces were replaced in 96, came to the hand in 97, now it comes, and here we go. AOF is here again. Nothing so sound, it's 1998.
Here's Triggerheart Exelica. Hopefully I pronounced that right. This is probably the first time I actually kind of pronounced this game properly. Now with this special edition from Red Art Games, you get the acrylic stand, you get the soundtrack, a Super Nintendo-like box, and the game itself. Now you get a double-sided poster as well, but I didn't feel like opening that up. But going back to the game, this was people will probably remember this game mostly from its Dreamcast release. It was supposed to be the last Dreamcast game release, but it was not. I feel like a lot of companies like to go for that last release of a system because it'll make their game stand out. But overall, this is a standout game on its own. Now, I personally have the PlayStation 2 version of this game that actually comes with the action figures. You probably will remember that video on Jason's channel years ago. It's like one of our first pickups videos where I showed that off. One of the things that always stood out to me about this game was the ability to be able to grab enemies and hurl them at like groups of enemies and destroy them. I love that whole effect, and the boss battles are pretty insane. I love the boss music. It really stands out. There's not really much that really stands out for this game. I think, you know, it is pretty old now, but still, I think the thing that'll stand out for most people is probably the anchor ability. You know, that's what I was talking about when you could grab enemies and throw them at each other. That's what really stands out. But other than that, you have your regular shooting effect and bombs, and you just go through the levels. But still a standout game. Definitely would have been like a swan song for the Dreamcast if it was like the last release, but still a swan song in its own right. Rodland for the Nintendo Entertainment System, and we're going to be looking at the Game Boy version, which I don't think a lot of people even knew about. But excited to do an unboxing of both of these games, so let's get right into it. But before I get into that, I just want to let you guys know that these games were released in Japan and Europe, and so this is the first time these games have been released in America thanks to Retrobit. Now what's funny about this release is that I was actually more excited about the Game Boy release. You guys know how I feel about the Game Boy system, so seeing that coming out over here, I felt really good about that. So shout out to Retrobit for bringing both of these games to America finally. So here's the NES version. Now this was, I believe, slated to come over here years ago, but at the last minute they decided to cancel it. So this traditionally doesn't come in an old school cardboard box as we remember a lot of NES games came in. It comes in a cardboard that kind of opens up like a book, as you can see here. And they did an outstanding job on the art, as you can see here. Now I'm pulling this part up so you can see the cartridge itself. I like the style they went with, you know, silver. I thought they would have probably went with something like more like colorful or whatever like that, but silver is perfect for this game, so I'm liking that. They could have went with a more rainbow color, but now that I'm thinking about it, it was probably a good idea they didn't go with that. So here you can see the manual itself, full color, outstanding job. This is the kind of quality we come to know from Retrobit. So yeah, just everything is looking good so far. And then you can see the art piece here. You'll set this thing up in case you just want to have the cartridge standing out on it. So it looks pretty cool, as you can see here. I'm not sure I'm going to have my cart out like this, but the option is nice. Now that you guys have seen everything that this comes with, let's take a look at some more gameplay. So if you guys have never played this game, it's very similar to games like Bubble Bobble, Rainbow Islands, and maybe even Snow Brothers, where you have to clear the screen of enemies before you can move on. You have your wand where you can slam enemies into submission, or you can slam them into each other to get extra points and upgrades like projectile attacks and all kind of other stuff. But one unique feature about this game is that you can create ladders to get to certain objectives. So that is one of the best features I feel like this game has over the others, which is pretty cool. One of the rewards in this game is the actual story. So if you're into the story, finding out what the story is about, you're rewarded with cutscenes and things like that. But other than that, you're getting a pretty solid game here. Alright, so here is the Game Boy version. This version is actually really good, and of course I consider it the sister version of the NES game. In saying that, I would say like you probably don't need both games, but I definitely wanted both of them because I feel like there's enough differences between them to make them worth having. Now, as you can see here, you don't have that flimsy cardboard that like regular Game Boy games come in. You got the book kind of like opening here that you're seeing, the hardcover cardboard. Game inside, art, everything looks outstanding. It's kind of like very similar to Avenging Spirit, if you guys remember my unboxing of that. You got the color manual as well. It doesn't come with all the extras that the NES version have, but that's okay. It's kind of weird that it comes with a colored manual, but the game is in like straight black and white. But that's okay because that's how the Game Boy was back in the day. But I wish this game would have really stood out if it came out on the Game Boy Color. But let's take a look. Plays just like the NES game, but for some reason I feel like this game plays a bit smoother to me. You know, maybe that's just me, my bias, because I like the Game Boy version just a little bit better than the NES version. But yeah, I think most people probably like the NES version, but both versions are great. So if you have a chance to get both of these, I would say go ahead and do that. Here's Cyber Citizen Shockman Zero. Now, if you haven't heard of this series, it was popular on the TurboGrafx, and now I'm happy to announce that it's finally been officially released on the Super Nintendo by our friends at Retrobit. Yes! Now, originally this game came out on the Satellaview. If you guys don't remember that system, yeah, you're not alone. But that system was a download service system for games in Japan for the Super Nintendo. Luckily, they were able to like save the data for this game and piece it together because it was released as episodic content back then. The game has minimal story, but thankfully it has been translated in English with this new release of the game. And out of all the Shockman games, this one is my favorite because I feel like it's the most balanced. You know, each character feels slightly different, I would say. I guess the best way to describe this game is more of a beat 'em up, a slight action type game, I would say, like when it comes to like platforming and stuff. The game does get a bit harder because you do have limited like continues, but you can continue from the same spot just like an arcade game. I just wish that they would have added some kind of mode where you could like, at least maybe as that I know of, that they would add some kind of mode that where you could have more credits just to kind of like, you know, just, I don't know, just get through it. But with the limited credits, it'll obviously force you to get better at the game. It is a lot of fun, but towards the end of the game, you might be running low on credits. But if you have the chance, definitely give this game a go. It's not too long, and it doesn't overstay its welcome, so I think you should definitely check it out. Here is Shinorubi, the pink edition. This edition comes with the game, steelbook, soundtrack, and a poster. Very nice for a shoot 'em up. Now, I talked about this game on the channel before, and as you can see, it's a vertical shoot 'em up. The only problem I have with this game, it's very fun, very colorful, but sometimes a lot of the stuff blends in, so you got to be careful about how you move around in this game. But other than that, you know, a lot of fun. Definitely something that I think a lot of shoot 'em up fans will play. The combo system is fun. You'll learn how many hits you're getting on the enemy. This makes it overall just a great experience. The boss battles in this game are just really just stand outish, I would say. But it's definitely a game that you people want to keep on your radar. Here's Tales of Grace's F. So this is a remaster of the PS3 game. It originally came out on the Wii, but that game was pretty messed up. So they re-released it on PS3. Had great reviews from what I remember. I really enjoyed the game. Now they remastered it on the PS4 and PS5, but we didn't get the PS4 version in America. That only came out in Play Asia, unfortunately, for like English language. But anyways, going to this game, fantastic Tales of game. Now, hopefully, most of you guys have played some of the Tales of series. This is a solid game. It's the first game I noticed that had 3 story arcs. Usually the Tales games that I remember only have like 2 story arcs. Like you think the story's going one way, then it flips. It does a 360 on you and goes another way, which is pretty crazy. So the story always changes, but this one has 3 arcs in it. I really liked the story in this game. A lot of people don't agree with me, but at least I can say the characters are likable. So the characters definitely are the shining point in this game. Now, come to think of it, I actually did a review of this game on my channel like 7-8 years ago. I totally forgot about it. So if you guys had the time, I remember editing that video on my cell phone before I had my computer, which is pretty crazy how I was editing videos on my freaking iPhone 4. But we made it work. So I think it's a pretty solid review from what I remember. But hey, you guys check it out, let me know. But either way, whatever you check out, make sure this game is on your list.
Do this.
This light connects us together. Everyone here understands just how you feel. Please believe me, your dream will live on. It's hard to believe I was so worried for all this time, because your dream will live on. I will see your dream fulfilled. We'll show her the power of a dream. I have something important to tell you. I've decided to trust you.
Doesn't matter who reaches out. What matters is that the other accepts. Now, take my hand.
Here's Iron Wings. This game kind of took me by surprise. This is an arcade flying shooting game that takes place during World War II, and it takes place from the perspective of 2 characters. The 2 main characters of this game are Jack and Amelia, and they are 2 childhood friends who decide to join efforts in the war to protect their country. Now, one of the cool features about this game is that you can play as both of these characters because they're on missions together, but you can switch between their planes, and you could like give them the other one commands to kind of like go and attack or stay by your side. So it's kind of cool how you can switch back and forth. The story is told in present and in future, so it's kind of cool to see how the story is told in the future and then like kind of going back into the past and seeing how things were. I like that perspective of the game, how they did that. Very good presentation there. But I do want to warn people, the game starts out kind of slow with the tutorials. They want you to learn a lot of stuff, and it can kind of be pretty boring. And the only place you can fly in is New York in the beginning. And it's kind of weird because you see this whole open area, but as soon as you fly to a certain distance, they say you're out of bounds when it doesn't even look like you're out of bounds. But still, once you get past that part, the game really opens up. And I definitely think that people might take an interest in this one as well. Now, here's the cool thing about the gameplay is that when you're shooting at your targets, you have a certain target that the camera will zoom in on as you get closer and while you're attacking it. So it'll go into like a cinematic attack once you defeat the target, which is actually pretty awesome. Right? It kind of makes you feel the moment. Now, I'm not sure how people will feel about the voice acting in this game. You know, it might throw some people off, or some people might just accept it. I'm not really sure. But hopefully, if you do think it's bad, you might be able to look past it, because I think there's a decent game here to be had.
I remember it was 1941. America was very different back then. I was just trying to move on with my life.
Okay, we need to split up now. Good luck, Iron Wings.
9 o'clock low! 9 o'clock low!
Watch out! They're shooting from the beach!
Let's take out anti-air guns first. Our bombardiers are done.
Let's clear the area. We don't have much time.
Here's X-Men Next Dimension. Now, you know what's cool about this game is that it is actually X-Men Mutant Academy Part 3, the versus fighting game. I had no idea that this was a sequel to that series. And what's cooler about this one, with X-Men 97 just releasing, this one goes off of the saga Zero Tolerance. So that makes this even cooler to have. So I'm looking forward to seeing like how the stories played throughout this game. But yeah, guys, I would say, how I feel about fighting games. In playing this one, I feel like it was ahead of its time too. So definitely check this one out. It's on the cheap, and definitely worth having, in my opinion.
Heart is what wins battles.
Here's Sommerville. Now, this game came out a couple years ago, but it finally got a physical release by Super Rare Games. Now, this game is very similar to games like, if you guys remember Limbo, the side quest game, where it was like this kid was trying to, like the shadowy kid was trying to rescue his sister, and then the other game, Inside, which was pretty insane, especially the ending. I believe these are made by the same person. But anyways, going back to this game, the game starts off with you at home with your family, just chilling and like watching television, and all of a sudden, there's an alien invasion going on, and a ship crashes into your house. Now, you and the family tried to scramble, get outside and leave the area, because it's obviously like a danger zone. But of course, as soon as you walk to your car, something blows up and you can't get to it. So now you're trying to figure out what you could do. Now, a situation happens where your character ends up being incapacitated, and your family's missing. So the game, I would say, pretty much starts from there. But the problem with this game for me is that there's too many puzzles. When you want to keep moving, there's a certain pace you want to be at with games, and you can't throw too many puzzles in the beginning. At least for me, that throws me off. I'm like, man, I don't want to play this anymore. But I'm gonna attempt to play it some more, and hopefully I'll beat the game. But I was talking with Jason about it. I'm not too sure about it as of right now, especially with one of the puzzles, like when you get to this ship and you have to pull this branch, and it's just so annoying. It's like I can't handle too many puzzles like that at one time. I need some pacing going on. But hopefully it'll get better. We'll see. Maybe I was just too anxious when I played it before. I guess being that this is an adventure game, if you take out the puzzles, you probably beat this game in an hour. But there's just a thing with me, like it's just too much at one time. It's like, dude, like calm down. But we'll see how it goes. I'm gonna try it again. I hear it's a short game, but hopefully it's rewarding. I hear it has multiple endings, so hopefully I get the best ending the first time playing it, even if that's possible. Or did they pull a Valkyrie profile on us? We'll see. Here's Sea of Solitude, Director's Cut. Now, the only reason I took interest in this game because I heard that Quantic Dreams had published it, so I felt like they were interested in this game. Maybe it's worthwhile. Now, I know from the beginning of the game, I believe that you're like in a city that's filled with water, and there's like monsters like kind of like stalking you or just around the area. But I hear the game is just pretty easy to go through. It's pretty linear, I would say. So it just has a real, not saying it has a strong story narrative, but I don't know, things might get interesting. I'll let you guys know what I think in the future. I felt like for $20, the game was worth checking out. I've heard some friends talk about it too, but I just can't remember exactly what they said about it. So I'm taking my own gamble on it. But you guys let me know what you guys think in the comments section. And here is Big Air. Now, the only reason I picked this up, it was extremely cheap, and I never played it before, so I thought about how much fun I had playing snowboard games, and I wanted to look at some of the ones on the PS1. Now some people may call it generic, but I call it pretty okay. If you want to just get to it in an arcade type snowboarding game, I think this game it does the job. Here's Everspace Part 2. So for those of you guys that are wondering in my last video what was my game that I got from GameStop that I was surprised to get, it was this one. I've been looking for this game as a physical for a long time, and it's been sold out on Amazon for a while, at least the American version, but finding this at GameStop, I was very happy about that. Now, if you haven't played the Everspace games, the first one I would say, I'm not gonna say it was a generic like roguelike shooter, space shooter, but I believe Jason showed it on a video a while back, and I took interest from that point. Now with Part 2 does everything better than the first one did. I mean, Part 2 to me so far is amazing, and I'm still in the beginning stages of the game. Production values I think were really high for this game. I don't know, just a lot going for it. And I hadn't even downloaded the DLC pack yet. I hear that changes things up a lot too. But I'm not gonna go over the story too much because the story is like, there's just so many different bits of the story. But I will say, if you're looking for a game that's space combat and has RPG elements to it, look no further than this game. I'm not saying it's for everybody, but I think it's for people who are looking for something a bit different. And I feel like this is the game that just really kind of went under people's radar, just like the first game did. Here's God of Rock. So this is a rhythm-based fighting game, and as soon as I saw that, I said, yeah, let me go ahead and pick this up. This was on sale. I think it was on sale for like 12 bucks on Amazon for a second. I think Cheap Ass Gamer had posted it. But once I played it, you know, I got my ass handed to me, but that's because like when I play rhythm-based games, if you get off a tune, you know, sometimes that'll mess you up for the rest of the match. But once you get used to things and the songs, you know, it starts to flow really well. Now, I'm not saying I'm ready to do any online matches as of right now, but practice makes perfect. So I'm gonna fill out most of the songs here, see how I do, and then I might take my skills online. But other than that, I think it's a pretty unique idea, and I think you guys should try it out. Like, compare like a fighting, if you're playing a fighting game but it's mixed with Guitar Hero. That's what you get with this game. But anyways, guys, let me know what you think. Here is Rusted Moss. Found out about this game by chance. I can't remember what video I was watching, but somebody had did like a list of Metroidvania type games, and this was on the list. And then come to find out, it had a physical release, so I bought that immediately. This game's gimmick is that you have this grappling hook that you use to kind of get out of situations and deal with like bosses and things like that. That's most of what I could say as of right now, because guess what? This is another game that came in the mail today as of this recording. But definitely it's got a lot of high praise from people like Metroidvania type games, so I'm really looking forward to it. What I like about these type of games are the boss battles. They usually have like really epic boss battles that are really unique battles that are like rememberable, I would say, so I'm looking forward to that. This game is out physical on the Switch and PS5. I hate that they skipped the PS4, but that seems the way that things are these days. Like PS4 sales, I guess, aren't as booming as a lot of these developers want them to be. So they skip over to the PS5. Now, you know this game's not pushing the PS5's power, but still, it has its place on the system. So just would rather have this on the PS4. But if you like what you're seeing here, definitely check this one out. Here's the novel of Lacrimosa of Dana. You guys know this as Ys 8 on the PS4 and other systems. Now, you guys know this Ys game is probably, still my favorite to this day. Definitely, I would say it's a good starter for people to get into the series, and this book actually expands more on the story, which is really nice between characters. Some people were upset when they bought this. They thought it was going to be a visual novel, but yeah, it's a text novel, so you got to put your reading glasses on, but definitely a good story to read. Here is VIII 3 for the Game Boy Advance. Now, I played the PS1 games, liked them a lot, but I wanted this version because I thought it really pushed the Game Boy Advance at the time. Like, it's actually pretty cool. I don't know if a lot of people, well, I think a lot of people do know about the game because it was rather expensive when I looked to go buy it off of eBay. But luckily, I found an alternative, and I paid a lot cheaper for that. And now I'm good to go. What impressed me about this game is that I felt like it pushed the Game Boy Advance, limits, with the graphics and how it played. I thought it was very impressive. So not only is the driving really well done, but the whole thing, you could actually drive in first person in this game and it still plays really well. So it's really impressed about that. Not really much else to say about the game as of right now. As of this recording, it just came in the mail, so I only got to play with it for a little bit. But from what I'm seeing, I think very impressive. So keep an eye out on this game. And yeah, it is a bit expensive, but look for ways to pay for a cheaper price. And now let's take a quick look at some games from Project Retro Games. I think you guys will really like these releases. Here's Rogue Dawn Metroid. Now this is an unofficial prequel to the original Metroid game. Now this story hack uses assets from the original Metroid game, so you'll see the same type of graphics, but this one did a good job of really standing out when it comes to the graphics. This hack came out, I want to say, maybe around 7-8 years ago. It's been around for a long time, but it's one of the more popular ones out there. And this one has 3 save slots. This even comes with a map of the game, so you can see like where areas are at. So I think that one thing the original Metroid was missing was a map, because drawing it out, you could do that, but think of how annoying that was. I think it's fantastic that Project Retro Games decided to do a physical for it, because this is the best physical I've seen for the game. Like really authentic looking, like very impressive, like very happy with this. I've seen some of the other ones out there and they're kind of like, I don't want to call them just like this plain, but they just don't really stand out. But this does, like seriously, like good job on this physical edition. And now when it comes to the game itself, this actually just arrived, so I haven't really got a chance to play it yet. But definitely I would say keep your eye out on this one from Project Retro Games. Splatterhouse Wanpaku Graffiti. Hopefully I pronounced that last part right. But this is one of the more obscure Splatterhouse games that came out on the Famicom, and then eventually I guess came out on the NES, and then people made an English translation of it, and now you see it from Project Retro Games here in this nice cool NES box edition. Now this game is a side-scrolling beat 'em up, I would say. It's very like comedic compared to its arcade counterpart. But definitely for fans of the series, I think they'll like it. But this one is probably the one that people haven't heard about, but definitely worth checking out.